I'm going to demonstrate how to create a gated reverb effect on drums as heard on Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight. As you can hear on this track, the kick, snare, and toms all have a gated reverb on them. I'm going to demonstrate how to create this gated reverb effect. Here's the final product. The first thing I'm going to do is apply a gate to the snare drum track to tidy up the snare drum so I just hear the snare drum and not any of the kick drum in it. So I'm just going to apply the standard Digidesign gate, go under here, go under Avid, and select the Dyne 3 expander gate. I'm going to adjust my settings really quick to range all the way at the bottom, ratio all the way at the top, attack as fast as can be, and I'm going to increase the hold a moderate amount. And let's hear how that sounds. I'm going to apply a sidechain to filter out some of the low frequencies. So I'm only triggering off of the actual snare drum. That seems to work for the most part, but I'm going to mute this little section here because that's not being caught by the gate. The next thing I'm going to do is create a big sounding snare reverb for the snare drum track. So I'm going to do that by going up to here to the sends, go to new track, create a mono aux input, I'll call it snare verb. Create that, and I'll create the aux send and return track. Solo safe it by hitting Command S, and then dropping a reverb across it. Let me find something. I'm going to use the Avid Revibe 2 mono to stereo, and then I'm going to choose Large Ambience 2, and hear how that sounds on the snare drum. All right, that seems to be something that I would want on there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a compressor across there because I want to really compress and squish the hell out of that reverb sound. So I'm going to choose the Avid Smack plugin because that's great for crushing drum sounds. Switch it to Smack all the way and just sort of adjust the level so it's getting compressed pretty good. That seems to be a good start. Now, because this gated reverb, especially after we apply the compressor, can become very bushy, it's very hard to gate by itself. So we're going to create a keyed send from the snare drum. So we're going to go up here and select bus. Let's pick bus 9. Why not? I'm going to right-click and rename it. Rename it to snare verb key. Okay. I'm going to set it all the way to top. I'm going to option click it. It goes all the way to 0. I'm going to make sure it's pre-fader. That way the key level stays the same regardless of where I place the fader. So I pre-fader all the way at 0. Now I'm going to go back to that snare reverb and apply that same gate. I'm going to go apply that Avid Dyne 3 expander gate. Adjust the settings so the range is all the way at the bottom. Ratio is all the way up at the top. Hold will set to a moderate level. And I'm going to set the key input over here. So I'm going to go in here and select the snare verb key. That's what I just renamed and created. So I'm going to select that. Then I go over here to the side chain and click on the key symbol, and that'll make sure that it keys off of the actual snare itself. So now we'll hear a gated reverb on that snare. Now you can adjust the hold and release times to tailor the gated reverb sound to fit the tune. And now I'm going to do the same thing to the toms. I'm going to apply a similar gated reverb, but I want them separately gated so they sound a little bit different when they come in these sections. I'm going to start by doing the exact same thing to the toms that I did with the snare drum. I'm just going to create a new track from the send. New track to a mono aux input. We'll call it toms verb. Solo safe it. Bring the volume quite a bit up, all the way up. Then we'll create another send. We'll call it, go to bus 10, right-click it and call it, rename it, call it Tom's Key Send. Hit OK. And now I'm going to apply that same reverb setting. Should be pretty easy. Just option-click, drag down. Do the same thing with the compressor, and the same thing with the gate. The only difference is I'm going to go to the gate and change the key input from the snare verb key to the Tom's Key Send. Now I'm going to bring my Tom Key Send all the way up to 0 by option clicking it and sending it pre-fader. Now let's hear what it sounds like. All right, let's dial that down a little bit. And now I'm going to shorten the hold time. The takt time's up. Shorten the hold time a little bit. I'll shorten it a little bit more. And raise the threshold a little bit. Lower the threshold a little bit. We're getting there. Perfect. Now to apply that same effect to the kick drum, I'm just going to copy the snare sends to the reverb as well as the key from the kick drum. Since there's a little bit too much reverb on the kick drum, I'm just going to lower the snare verb send, maybe 10 dB or so. maybe lengthen the tom gate a little bit longer, maybe closer to the 200 range. And there you have it, the gated reverb sound on drums.